Alright guys, part 2, let's do it. Let's tackle this algebraic fraction, this monstrous one. But what we are really doing is just utilizing the skills that we've learned within the previous video and exercise 5c to simplify each part of the fraction, so 4 different parts, and then try to simplify where we can. And this harmonically simplifies down to a very nice number. Alright, so let's look at this first one here. I'm going to break this up into 4 different bits. So this 4x squared minus 9. Now this isn't trinomial, it's got 2 terms within it. So I can see here that this 4x squared minus 9 can actually be written as 2x squared minus 3 squared. And I've purposely done this because I'm now going to apply my difference of perfect squares rules to put this into the form of 2x plus 3, 2x minus 3. Now, if you get into a point where you have to force it to be a surd, then so be it. In this case, this nicely fits into 2x plus 3 and 2x minus 3. So that's the first part. The second part I'm going to do is the numerator within the second fraction. And so we have 25x squared minus 10x plus 1. And with this, we are going to write down what our a, b, and c is. So our a is 25, b is negative 10, c is 1, and a times c is 25 times 1, which is just 25. So we're looking for 2 numbers that when multiplied together will give me 25, and when also added together will yield a negative 10. In this case, it's negative 5 and negative 5. 2 terms are exactly the same. Negative 5 plus negative 5, so negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. And these two multiplied together gives me 25. So we are going to then rewrite this 25x squared to make it look like minus 5x minus 5x, as opposed to just leaving it as minus 10x. So that way we can group. And obviously in this case, the order doesn't matter because they're both the same. So we're going to group this, and we're going to find a common factor between the first 2 terms and a common factor within the second 2 terms. And if we need to, we might need to manipulate what term we take, common term we take out, whether it's positive or negative, to make it match the first common factor we take out within the first 2 terms. So in this case here, I'm going to take out 5x because this is the highest common factor I can take out between these 2 terms. And what I'll be left with is a 5x after I've divided 25x squared by 5x, and a negative 1. 5x into negative 5x is negative 1. So that's the first one. Now the second one, I'm left here with a 5x minus 1, and we can't necessarily number-wise take out a common factor between 5 and 1, 1 being the highest number. But we have to make sure that we know whether to take a negative 5 or a positive 5 out. Because I want this second bracket to be 5x minus 1 here, I'm going to take out negative 1 as my common term. And so what I'll be doing is dividing negative 1 into these 2 terms to end up with 5x minus 1. I've purposely done this. If I took out positive 1 as my common term, I'll be left with negative 5 plus 1 in the middle, which isn't the same as what I have here. So in this case, what I will have is 5x minus 1 as my common factor between these 2 terms. And what I'll be left with is 5x minus 1. And so this can be written as 5x minus 1 all squared, but I'm just going to leave it like this for now, just to see if this can be simplified or cancelled out with any of the other 2 expressions that we can see within the question. So that is the first part. Second part. The second expression I'll be simplifying or factorizing is 10x squared plus 13x minus 3. A value is equal to 10, B value is equal to 13, C value is equal to negative 3, and my A times c is 10 times negative 3, which is negative 30. So I'm going to find two numbers that when multiplied give me negative 30, and that when added will yield a positive 13. In this case here, it is 15 and negative 2. Now I know people will think, oh, it has to do with a 10 and a 3, because I know that adds up to a 30, but because this is a negative 30, it gets a bit awkward if we try to use 10 and 3. It's 15 and 2 in this case. So positive 15 and negative 2, because 15 plus minus 2, or 15 minus 2, will give me a positive 13. So this 10x squared plus 13x minus 3 gets rewritten as 10x squared plus 15x minus 2x minus 3. Now again, it doesn't necessarily matter which order you put it in, as you've seen within the previous video. In this case here, highest common factor is 5x, so I'll be left with a 2x plus 3. 5x into that gives me 2x, 5x into that gives me 3. And the next part, in this case, this 2x minus 3 has no number-wise, no common factor. So I've got to figure out if I have to take out a positive 1 or negative 1 as my common factor to make it equal a 2x plus 3. So in this case here, I'm going to take out a negative 1. And so when I divide negative 1 into these two terms, I'll be left with 2x plus 3, and I've purposely done that so these two terms are the same. 2x plus 3 is a common factor between both of these terms. And in all these messages, so 2x plus 3 is the first part, 5x minus 1 is my second part, and this is the factorized form. The last expression that we're going to simplify is the 10x squared minus 17x plus 3. A equal to 10, b equal to negative 17, c equal to 3, and a times c is 10 times 3, which gives me a 30. So another 30 we're dealing with, but this one is a positive 30. And we need to find two numbers when multiplied together will give me positive 30, and when added together will give me negative 17. This will be negative 15 and negative 2, as negative 15 plus minus 2 will give me negative 17. So this expression can be rewritten as 10x squared minus 15x minus 2x plus 3. Group and take out common factors. 5x is the highest common factor, so we'll be left with a 2x minus 3. 5x into 10x squared is 2x, and 5x into negative 15x is negative 3. And again, we're just left with this minus 2x plus 3. So in my case, I want to take out negative 1 as my common factor. So I can force this to be a 2x plus 3. Whoops. Let's try that again. It's going to be 2x minus 3. We wanted 2x minus 3 because this is 2x minus 3. Yep, that makes sense. 2x minus 3 is my common factor. So I'll be left with a 5x minus 1. Okay, so when all said and done, this whole thing here can be rewritten as this 4x squared minus 9 was written as 2x plus 3, and 2x minus 3 is the difference of perfect squares. The 10x squared plus 13x minus 3 was written as 2x plus 3, 5x minus 1. And this is being multiplied by 5x minus 1, 5x minus 1. Move it to the side a little bit, let's get a bit of space, there we go. And 10x squared minus 17x plus 3 is 2x minus 3, and 5x minus 1. Now before I do my simplifying to see if this gets cancelled out, and I know it does. We just want to make sure that before we tackle these type of questions, more specifically this one, and this one, we want to make sure that before we apply these tactics or skills in order to factorize these, we want to make sure that we can take out a common factor between all three terms before we can, because sometimes there could be a common factor or highest common factor that can be taken out if there's a commonality. So say for instance, if this here was a 5 instead of a 1, I know I can take out 5 as a common factor, because 5 goes with both in all 25, in 10, and in 5. In these three cases it does not, so we can just go ahead and just use the skills that we know for factorizing it. But if there is a common factor between all three terms, and you will see it within the questions, you go ahead and take that out first. Alright, so now whenever I see something on the top, it gets simplified with, or cancelled out with, something in the bottom. So here this 2x minus 3 gets cancelled out with that. This 5x minus 1 gets cancelled out with this. This 5x minus 1 gets cancelled out with that. And this 2x plus 3 gets cancelled out with this. All of these simplify technically down to 1s. So this is just 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 divided by 1 times 1 times 1 times 1. Our answer harmonically ends up being 1. So it's not obvious when you look at something like this that no matter what type of x value that you put in here, as long as the x value is always the same and consistent, when you try to figure this out, you will always get a value of 1, no matter what x value you put in there. 0, 1, 2, -9, it doesn't matter. You will always get the answer of 1, and we've proved this by simplifying. Alright, that concludes this video tutorial. Have a look at the questions that you will need to tackle. Just bear in mind that you will be put into situations where you're going to have a what if this and what if that. If you end up get into a situation like this, you know where I am. Just send a question and I'll try to help you out. Till then, see you in the next video. Tell you all.